In this tutorial, we're going to learn how to create arcs in AutoCAD. If we go to the Draw panel on the Home ribbon bar, and we look at the Arc button and click on the down arrow, you'll see that just like creating circles, there's many different methods of creating arcs. In fact, there's 11. For our purposes, we only need to learn two. 3-point method and the start, end, and radius method. Now to practice these methods, we're going to go back to our circle and arc drills template. So we'll go back up to the big A and click on New, and we'll click on Exercise Templates, and again open up Circle and Arc Drills. If you still have this template open, you'll notice there's two tabs for the paper space layouts, one called Circles, which we worked on, and now we're going to click on the tab that says Arcs, and we're going to get this practice screen. Now, the first arc we're going to learn to create is the default method, the 3-point method. And we're simply going to type in the word arc, or we could type in the alias, which is simply A, and hit enter. The 3-point method is very straightforward and simple. We simply click on the first point here, click on a second point, click on a third point, and it will create an arc between those 3 points. We can do it again in a similar situation here. We can click on this endpoint, and this endpoint, and it creates a 3-point arc. Very simple, easy way to create an arc. The one disadvantage of this method, however, is that you can't control the radius very accurately, and most of the time we'll want to do that. So we're going to use another method called the arc start end radius method, and we'll use this little example here to try it out. So we're going to create a series of 2-inch radius arcs, and the first thing you need to know about this method, the start end radius method, is that it behaves in a certain way. It thinks we're going around a circle in the counterclockwise direction. What that means is if I start at 0 and click on 90, it will create an arc on top of the line because it thinks we're going around the circle this way. If I create the arc by starting at 90 degrees and going to 0 degrees, it's going to create the arc rather to the bottom of the line because it thinks we're going around the circle counterclockwise again. Let's use this method. We're going to type in A, enter, and it's going to prompt us right away for the start point. So we want to start here. Next, it prompts us for the second point, but we don't want the second point, we want the end point. So if we look down at our command line here, you'll see we have an option called end. We can either click on it, or we can type in E, enter, and it will give us the endpoint option. So now we'll click on the endpoint, and now you notice it's asking for a center point. We want radius, so we're going to type in R, enter for the radius option, and you'll notice when you move your cursor, you'll see the arc appear, and now we simply type in the radius, in this case 2. Okay, we'll try that one more time. This time I'm going to reverse the start and end point. So I'm going to start at 90, I'm going to end at 0, and you'll see what happens. So we'll start again with A for arc and enter. I'm going to start at 90, and I'm going to enter E and enter for the end point, and now I'll end at 0. And I'll now enter R, enter for the radius, and you can see that it started the arc below the line. Okay, because I reversed the pick points, it thinks I'm going around the circle in this direction. Okay? So, we'll try it one more time. We'll do an arc, and we're going to start at 90 degrees. We'll type in E, enter for endpoint, R, enter for radius, and we'll type in our radius of 2, and it creates the arc. One more example. Sometimes in woodworking we like to create a nice smooth S-curve, and one way we can do that is by creating two identical arcs with the same radius and just reversing them on this line. So we'll show you how to do that. We'll again start with arc, A, enter. We'll start at A. We'll type in E, enter for the endpoint, and we'll use the midpoint of the line as our endpoint. We'll type R, enter as our radius. And in this case, it's asking us for a radius of 3, so we'll type in 3, enter, and we get our first arc. We'll hit enter again to bring back the arc command, our previous command. And now we'll start from C this time. We'll type in E, enter, pick the midpoint of the line again as our endpoint, R, enter, and we'll enter our radius of 3. And you can see we get a nice smooth S-curve. We could use that for a crown molding, or we could use it for a scrolled valance or something like that. And so this is arc creation. So we have our two methods. We have a 3-point method, simply by selecting the first, second, and third point, and an arc is created between the points. Or we have the start and radius method. And with the start and radius method, if you get the arc on the wrong side of the line, simply reverse your start and end point, and it will give you the arc on the other side of the line.